The most famous one is in the book of Eov, the book of Job. We're told the following. One day, Job chapter 1 verse 6, one day the heavenly beings are the angels. So one day the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. So there is a being called Satan, and he's one of the angels. So all these angels came to present themselves before God, and one of these angels was Satan. And the Lord said to Satan, God said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on the earth." And God said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? Have you ever thought about my servant Eov? There's no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. Right? I have a great servant in this Eov." But then Satan answered God, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a fence around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You've blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. Job has a very cushy life. It's very easy for Job to be someone that fears you, God. But stretch out your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face." Satan says, don't think that this Job is so righteous. He's got a very easy, cushy life. But if you make things difficult for him, you'll see that he won't be so loyal to you. So God says to Satan, "Very well, all that he has is in your power. Only do not stretch out your hand against him." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. So here we see that Satan is one of the angels. And we see, importantly, that he is circumscribed. His powers are circumscribed by God. Right? God gives him his marching orders. God says, you can do whatever you want to Job, only you cannot kill him. You cannot really wipe him off. So Satan, is important to see here, is not independent of God. Satan does not have independent power. Satan does not operate independently of God. Satan is described here in the most central part of the Bible about Satan as an angel of God, just like all the other angels. Angel in Hebrew means messenger. He's a messenger, an agent of God, and he is under the control of God. God gives him his parameters. A very important passage in Isaiah chapter 45. The prophet says, "I, God is speaking, I form the light and create darkness. I make light and darkness. I make peace and create evil." God is saying here that I make the good stuff and the bad stuff. I make peace and I create evil. There isn't another force that does evil things. You know, there's a religion, we have them in Toronto, Zoroastrians. Zoroastrians are bothered. It's a very famous philosophical problem. Why is there evil in the world? If there's a good God, and God is good, how could there be evil in the world? So the dualists, the Zoroastrians, said it's very easy. There are two forces. There's a God of light and a God of darkness. When good things happen, that's the God of light that's basically in charge. And when evil things happen, that's the God of darkness that's winning the battle. But there are many religions that see the world as divided between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And the Jewish Bible's main teaching is Adonai Echad. There's only one force that controls the world. God is responsible for everything. Everything that happens in this world is under the control of God. So God here takes credit for all the good and all the bad. There isn't a separate force and a separate power that does anything. In the Encyclopedia Judaica, he makes the point. He, Satan, is clearly subordinate to God. A member of his suite, one of the Bnei Elohim, one of the angels, who is unable to act without his, God's permission. Nowhere is he in any sense a rival of God. We're going to see that in Christianity, Satan is not seen as part of God's team. In Christianity, Satan is not seen as part of God's team. Satan is seen as the leader of an opposing team. The Christian model is basically a dualistic model. The Christian worldview sees a world where there's basically a struggle between God and the forces of evil which are under the authority of Satan. This is a very, very critical distinction. So 1 John chapter 3 says that anyone that sins because of the devil, who is the ruler of this world, because the devil sins from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of God, this is the Christian Bible saying, for this purpose Jesus was manifested. For what purpose? That he might destroy the works of the devil. From a Christian point of view, without Jesus, the devil is going to rule the world. Now, what's sad, it's sort of weird, is that even with Jesus, we know that the devil was not destroyed. Even though it says Jesus came to destroy the works of the devil, we see that the devil is still very robust, even 2,000 years after Jesus. As a matter of fact, even in the Christian Bible, there are stories where Paul says, for example, I tried to go somewhere, but I couldn't get there because the devil, Satan, stopped me. So even in the times of Jesus, he didn't defeat the devil whatsoever. That's, again, another thing that the Christian world puts off until the second coming. Because, again, Jesus didn't accomplish much in this world.